All right, so we are back with another Marvel Rivals guide for Pyro Prisons on Human Torch. And I decided today we will examine some simple prison shapes that we can make on the new Krakoa domination map. Remember that the goal of this video is to simply burn some of these prison shapes into your mind so that while you're under fire in the heat of battle, you can get some easy value out of your Pyro Prisons. On these domination maps, things can get unpredictable and sometimes fights can be taken all over the place, but I will try to focus mostly on the spots where the majority of the battles take place. A lot of it might seem simple and obvious, but the point is to make it so when you see these locations in the game, while you're fighting, you say, hey, wait a second, I can just go boom, aim for this corner here, boom, put another one here, hit E, and carry on trying to do damage. Keep in mind as well that the point of Pyro Prisons isn't to just do damage, it's to take away space. So even if you make a big square in the middle of a capture point or a choke point and the enemy doesn't walk into it or you don't catch anyone in it, it's still creating value for you and your team by making the enemy either delay their push or they leave teammates behind, or it forces the enemy team to kind of clump up together more because no one wants to go into the flames. And that can be taken advantage of in multiple different ways. So keep in mind, it's not always about damage, it's about taking away space. Simplifying this process makes it easier for a lot of players, and it's good practice for myself as well. So let's get into the video and take a look. All right, so we're on the Grove section of Krakoa, and basically we just came out of the spawn. The Grove is the one with the big trees in the middle. And I won't give you any prisons for this section of the map. Hopefully you're not defending your spawn here exactly. I mean, there's lots of like big spots you can do here around the pillar and stuff like that. It's pretty simplistic. But usually the main choke point that the enemies hold is this gateway right here. So if you guys get stuck, if this pillar is still around, because they can destroy it, you can kind of use this pillar to kind of set up some squares right around here. But quite often they destroy it. So what I'll do sometimes is come around to the side with the stairs here. You know, it gives you a little thing that you can hide behind. But I'll basically try and look through here. And you can basically put one right here, one back here, one back here. And then your last one, you can just kind of slip over the edge here and just shoot it there and then back down. So it just kind of looks something like this. And then you press E. You get a nice big square, usually where they are trying to defend, and you can include the health kit inside that square. And it just kind of, you know, they're usually on this side of the wall when they're defending. So a nice big square right here to help get through the choke point for your team. So if you guys have actually pushed the enemies back where they're defending the actual control point, usually these trees, they die, you know, after a little bit. They're pretty tanky, but usually they die. But I mean, it's pretty obvious what you do here. You can't actually put one down on the ground here and have one up top on the platform. The altitude difference will make it so they don't connect. But it's basically, you know, I'm sitting over here and I'm aiming at kind of the base of the trees. So put one like here, one over there, one over here, and just one here. You don't want to make it too close to this edge right here because this tree could potentially block it. Like if you put it like here, this might block it. It's not like a perfect square or circle or anything you can do, but it's just something quick, right? So without hitting the roots over there, you're just going to keep it simple and basically one here, one over there, one here, and one here. And there, you've taken away the center of the capture point. The opponents are going to move to the sides. Now, once the opponents move to the sides and you take away the middle section, it's much easier for you to throw a couple bombs and then, you know, F on top of them and blow them up. Sometimes, you know, people will fight around here. They'll fight up here. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. A lot of these are just kind of like, okay, you're going to put it like this and do something like this, you know, and there you go. You know, it's kind of obvious. It's too sporadic for me to really explain any there. You can also approach the center point from any of these side angles, but you're essentially doing the same, you know, as big of a square that you can do. Just watch out for these roots. If you hit them directly, sometimes it won't create a firebomb. Some of them are a little bit different than other ones. It's a little annoying, but I just play it safe, make sure I hit him like right here type thing, right? So, you know, something like this, and then away we go. You're not looking for perfect shapes, just simple that you can do in the heat of combat. Okay, so we're not going to do anything over here. It's pretty self-explanatory. The middle one is pretty self-explanatory too. But now let's pretend that we've got the capture point and we are just trying to hold this area. So maybe we are just defending this side and they are trying to push through their choke. What I've done sometimes, I mean, if you can somehow get a square in here, like, you know, boom, 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 and just take this whole area away, great. That works. But I've tried to keep it a little simpler, where if I'm up here and the trees are, well, it's a little bit easier when the trees are gone, but it's something as simple as I'm making a big triangle. So put this back here and then one right here, and then it's basically like one right here. And you make it just a big triangle. So it covers the health pack. It makes it so they take some damage going through the choke, and it just basically deters them from going through the gateway here. As soon as they see the flames rise up, they'll sit here and wait. Ideally, you want the opponents to come up here or something. Yes, it's high ground, but they're very exposed here. They don't have much cover other than this. They're exposed by all this angle. So yeah, just a simple triangle where I'm just trying to make sure that they line up and they don't, you know, hit the corner of this or something like that. That's all you got to do here. Keeps it simple. Now, if you do want to make a square here, I mean, it's not hard. You just kind of have to approach it from a different angle, like straight on. It's a little bit annoying. It's not as bad when these trees are gone. I mean, it's like, oh, I put one here because you got to make sure that it needs to go like line up right here, right? It's not hard, but you just can't usually see the opponents. So I usually don't do it. I usually go from an angle where I can see them. But I mean, you would just go here and here and here and here, right? Okay, boom, we've got a square. No problem. But I mean, quite often you should be anyway hugging terrain so you can go in and out and bob and weave, right? So it might be like, I'll basically try and if I feel like it's a little bit safe, I'll turn the corner and put one here. And then if I see them coming through, it's like now I can just transition right to this corner here where I'm safe, this one here where I'm safe, and this one here. And now the whole thing's completed, and I did it from safety, basically. So if you are going to try and make a square here and you need the right angles and stuff like that, you don't want to be just floating here because the enemy can just shoot you, and you don't want to be over here really. So do it from this side, and it's pretty simple, but just do this corner one first. Okay, and then the last one really for this map, it's pretty simple. There's really not too much for this map, but let's say you guys have the capture point, you've pushed them back through here, and now you're defending this area, right? I hug this corner a lot. This wall cannot be destroyed, and there's a health kit right here. Yeah, there's the portal, but I mean, it kind of works both ways. But basically, the opponents are going to come down here, and there's always going to be a fight here. So by hugging this, I basically can see a corner easily here, and easily over here, and then easily here. It's just this one right here that you kind of want to put, and you got to kind of stick your neck out to get it. But I will note that you can actually make the firewall up these stairs. The altitude is not large enough that it won't work. It seems to work just fine. And I kind of put it right in front of this plant. So it'll be like one here. Oh, sorry. One here, one over there, and then one over here. It makes a nice big square, works perfectly, hugs this wall, and hugs most of this basically. Takes away all this space, and if you can time it right when they're making a push, it's amazing. All right, so we're on the second part of Krakoa, the Carousel map. Basically, I mean, it's very rare that you're ever going to have a fight outside the spawn yet again. This map is crazy because it has so many different angles to approach things, and it's actually like way bigger and wider and higher altitude than a lot of maps in the game. So I'm basically trying to find, you know, again, the most commonly used places where people fight. So usually quite often both teams will kind of come through here and, you know, there's a fight in this lobby area. My goal here, if you guys can beat them to here and you can get this wall, what I've been doing is kind of making a big square around this thing. And I'm aiming for like one right here, one right here, one here, of course, and then one that's in a straight line right down here to connect them all. It's really nice when it works. Sometimes this room kind of bugs out and they don't connect, but it should look something like this. So you're going to put one right here because you want to kind of block this off too, right? So one here, one way over here, here, and just anything here. And you get a nice big square, takes away this, the stairs, they basically have to cross through it. Or, again, they hug the wall, which makes them ripe for you to blow them up with a dash, right? So this is the commonly used one that I just use here on the first engagement. I'll note that you can actually make prisons go up these stairs. The altitude works. So, I mean, you could just make, if you guys don't beat them there, you could just make like a big square, even from like here. So I'll put one there, I'll put one here, and just like here and here. And there you go. You know, something that it actually, this has to come out slightly, but you get the idea. Just a big square right here. Make sure, I guess, this is lined up, and it takes away this middle part, which will usually force the opponents to just go right for the control point, which is kind of what you want because it's a big space that's easy for you to make pyro prisons. Okay, so if the fight actually comes to the control point, I mean, this dragon asshole's in the way a little bit, but basically, you cannot put one at the top of the stairs and one at the bottom. You cannot connect them. The altitude's too high. But you can go like halfway down the stairs and it works just fine. So it kind of really depends on exactly what's happening. You'll see opponents, like your team's coming from this way to try and contest the point. You'll see some people like hug underneath here. You have other guys up here shooting. It kind of gets chaotic here, and people aren't used to the map yet, so all kinds of shit happens. But if you can take advantage of just this wide spot, it's a little bit safer. I mean, you're pretty good to go by just making like big shapes at the bottom of the stairs, right? Keep it simple. You know, I just aim for one over there, one over here, one over here, and one over here. And, you know, just make a big square and take away most of the area in the middle. Sometimes you get some insane value out of it. But again, it totally kind of depends on the situation. If you guys have the capture point and you can see that they're clearly like pushing through this choke point, you know, I've made just a simple square halfway up the stairs like this, you know, and now just as they're pushing, they're getting burned. Now they all, once they want to loop through here. And again, with Human Torch, whenever you can make opponents move out of an area and kind of squish together in a smaller area because they don't want to get burned, that's when you look for the big dash on top of them. It just makes it easier for your whole entire team to hit anybody because their enemies are stacked up on top of each other, right? So this area, I mean, it's a playground a little bit, but I mean, big squares, you can just never go wrong, right? Just make them quick, hit it, spam the E button. I don't know why that didn't connect, but just, yeah, spam the E button and just go back to doing your thing. Keep it simple in most cases, and it works really, really well. Now, one that is kind of not really an actual pyro prison, but I've just been doing it quickly because when the enemies engage you on this point, it gets crazy, right? People are coming up the stairs. They're coming from the portal up here. They're coming up here. They're coming up through this window. They're coming from this side, this side, this side. It gets crazy, right? But, you know, usually we're defending somewhere around here, and I don't want to put myself indoors where I don't have as much room to move. But I've literally just been aiming for, like, this corner here, right? And another one right outside the door here, and I just make a line that goes straight across. So when they come up the ramp, they like either walk into fire or go back down, right? So it's just like literally this simple, and it makes a nice line, and it gets them even if they're over here. I've had people walk through it multiple times. Again, I just try and keep it simple, and usually that works against most opponents. So just a simple line. Aim for this far corner so they have no way to get past. Shoot one there, and away you go. Okay, so if your team has captured the point and you've pushed them back even further, so they're coming from their spawn, which is over here, I really utilize this spot a lot. You've got a health kit here and a health kit here. They're like extremely close to each other. You can go up top here if you need to, and the enemies can walk right underneath you sometimes. You can go underneath if they come from above. You can use the portal to escape once it's active. You can just turn around and just F away. It's an extremely flexible spot, and it kind of lets you just be safe and get a good overview of what's going on. So, I mean, if they're coming through this hallway, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to, you know, quickly throw one, even if you can only do a third down there and just hit this. Okay, whatever, good enough, right? It's going to deter them from coming that way. You can poke at them. Or if you see them coming, I mean, just back off entirely and just fly up and, you know, wait here, basically. But if you see them coming from up top, you can call it out, ping it out, or just make a really long box like this and just, you know, okay, maybe you ding some people a little bit. But remember, you're not only trying to do damage to the opponents, but you're just trying to slow them down. Time is very valuable in Marvel Rivals. So whether it's a payload map or a domination map, every little tick of time matters, right? It puts the pressure on the opponent, especially if you have the objective. Now they're against the clock to steal it from you. So really utilize this spot. I think it's extremely good, and you've got multiple health options and escape options. Once the capture point is captured, these portals will start to glow like this. And once they're, you know, the color basically overwhelms the whole thing, they'll light up and you can actually use the portals. And this portal down below here, just, you know, it's kind of on the main route, but just beside the capture point is a really good one to use because it brings you up top here. And it's just obviously an amazing spot, like I showed before, to quickly make a prison. And, you know, you're right beside a portal. You can just get out of here, make the prison, get out, and come back from another angle. So I think it kind of messes with the opponents. If they see your pyroblast coming from up there, they say, oh, he's up there, someone pings you, and then all at once you're back down here again and you're shotgunning with your basic attack somebody in close quarters. So I'll use the portal, quickly, you know, make a prison, and then just go back, you know? Okay, and then the third possible map on Krakoa is, of course, the Cradle. We've come out of the spawn here. And, I mean, sometimes you get pushed back to your spawn, but again, I'm not really going to get into it. It's pretty obvious. They're pretty wide open areas. One thing to watch out for on this particular map is the altitude. For example, from this perspective, this hill doesn't look too steep, but it actually is pretty steep. Like, when you get to the bottom of it, it's pretty steep, right? So if you put, you know, a flame up here, and you put a flame field down there, it doesn't actually connect. It's way too steep. And if the enemy is holding this area when you guys are trying to make it to the control point, you basically have to put them, one of your flame fields, like past this bush for it to count. So if you were going to put one here, and then one here, and then one over here and here, it'll work. But if this one of your flame fields was up here instead, it would not connect to those. So keep the altitude in mind. I kind of use this bush as a marker where I basically say, hey, anything below this, it'll work. Now, with this whole, like, weird pillar thing, sometimes you have lots of fights right in this choke point. I mean, what I do is you can come from above here, keep it simple, where I just, like, aim for this corner, aim for that corner, and then just turn yourself a little bit here and aim, and you just make a big square, right? So it'll look like something like this, and we keep it simple. This part doesn't matter as much. Usually they're hiding behind the pillars, so you want to make sure that this one is a little bit further back. But yeah, that's the opening, and then we make our way towards the capture point. Okay, so we're at the capture point area, and before we get over to that, quite often, especially when the match first starts, the teams might have a little head-to-head in this area here, right? And, I mean, if you can beat them there and you can kind of, you know, make a prison anywhere in this area, that's great. But if they do get up here and there is a fight, I've been trying to just nail making a big square, like across here, up to here, and then across here. And this piece is angled, so it's a little bit tricky, but basically, if you kind of sit here, you can picture it. So if I put one in, you know, like, basically the edge of this thing, if I put one here, and then I put one, like, by this second line, I know that they're going to be able to see each other and work. So if I put one by the rock, and then we put one past the second line, we put it out near the edge, we can cut off the health pack here as well. So it's going to look something like this. And it makes a nice big square, cuts off most of the area, and most importantly, keeps the health pack within the Pyro Prison. Now, for the actual control point itself, you have multiple different angles that you can approach this from. If you just come down like the main hall here, this angle isn't bad at all. I mean, you can just put like one, flame field here, another one over there, another one over there, and another one here. And like you can basically see most of it, and you get rid of most of that space. If you come from the top area here, it's similar, but you're gonna have to like fly out a little bit. But again, just you could put one here, you could put one over here, you could put one over there, and you could put one over here. And it's just easy to do, makes a big square. It's kind of how I will open a fight. If I come through any of these areas and I see that the enemy team is like on the point defending, that's what I'm going to do. But it also works if you come from below here. I've kind of started using this spot a little bit because I can like poke up my head and just like shoot at people. But I mean, yeah, just keep it simple where I just put one down, put one down, put one down, and put one down, and then we hit E, and there you go, right? This spot isn't bad. There's a health kit right there, or there's one right below you up top here. So, yeah, there's multiple ways to attack the main control point here. It's just kind of whatever's going on, you try and get the best that you can out of it. It is also a good spot if you can put a 5th flame field down and make a big, a bigger area. I'm just trying to avoid this, but it's like this, over to here, over to here, over to here, over to here. And it's like, yeah, you cover most of the space pretty easily, right? Again, you got to do this quickly in the heat of battle, so you might not always make perfect shapes, but that's okay. That's part of the fun and the skill of the Human Torch, so... And then the last one that we're going to show just on this video, so let's say we have the capture point and now the enemy team is coming from their side and we're defending. It's kind of just the reverse of the square that we did over on the other side. I mean, this area, I mean, it's kind of clogged up anyway. I mean, there's plenty of times where I've just done this and like just put a line through here or something and, you know, they either walk through it or they don't. It's not ideal to do that. The goal of this spot here is basically to make a big square to make this whole area in between these choke points uncomfortable, right? And I've just a little tip. I've been flying very high on this map, and you've got a lot of space, and just sitting here like messes with their vision. When they do come through here, they have to look up, or if they do come around this corner, this branch kind of blocks for you. So I'm flying quite high here, but I'll dip down, and basically I'm trying to make one that's as close to this side as I can. So one like that's going to be here, and then one that's going to be here. We have to make sure that you can see it over here, right? So then it's going to be like here and here. So it's something like this. Nice and easy. And it makes it so they are punished if they go through the choke point at all. And again, if you can time that right, it is just super effective. I've seen people... You know, like, I've seen the thing charge through here, right? Just as I'm setting up, like, my 3rd or 4th flame field, and I hit E, and, like, the rest of the team can't follow him. And now there's a thing stuck here, and I just get to shotgun him down with my basic attack. And, you know, sometimes the team will follow as well, but you might even force a Luna ult or something, and you're trading a Pyro Prison for a Luna ult, which is just insane value, right? So... Simple one, just a nice big square, hug the corners here, and make it so it fits through most of the choke point. And that pretty much wraps up the video. I wanted to keep it simple. I basically want it so when you are playing these maps and you are seeing these different areas as you go through the maps, that your brain sort of just connects the dots and says, wait a second, I remember we can just go boom, 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 make a simple shape here, 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 and here, and I can go back to using my basic attack and my flame fields and trying to be like an offensive weapon, and I don't have to worry about these shapes so much. I think if you simplify it and practice it, it makes it a lot easier, and I get a lot of value out of Human Torch right now. I am destroying lobbies, and partly it's because I make these videos. It helps me practice as well. So I do have another video already. I'm hoping to make a series of these. I think it helps a lot, and they're easy to make. I do stream daily on twitch.tv/Silva66, so you can stop by there. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this helps somebody, and take care.